Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Thursday, May 15th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you're someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used as a tool to help make good decisions as a trader, this would be a video for you. First off, a couple of clarifications. Number one, the candlestick that you see right there will be moving around and changing. That is because the market's still open for a small amount of time. But I like to do these videos when the market is still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day price movement. Second, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks here represents 30 minutes worth of time. So ticker symbol number one, IXHL. Absolutely monster move today. Huge volume, great price movement. So got to think a lot of people will be watching this one here headed into Thursday. So let's map out a couple of the key levels here. And the first key area is just essentially nothing fancy, but looking like where the sellers are currently residing. So red for resistance. And that's right up here around that 93-cent mark. Again, no fancy logic other than that is where the party finally stopped on the day. So keep an eye on that as the main area of resistance. And then while all that's going on, you do have nice progress being made in the upwards direction on the bullish part. So let me change that to green for support. And then just to kind of map out everything and symbolize it from more of a pattern standpoint, let's keep it one color. So we have our area of resistance. We have the area of support. We have the big upwards move right there. And then for you golfers, try to make it a little bit more visual, put the golf hole down here. Ultimately, we have an overall bull pennant pattern. Now, just because something's bullish does not mean for sure guaranteed it's going to go up. But is it valid? Is it plausible to think that if this, kind of chops around and eventually comes up here and breaks up through there, is it plausible to throw out the question that, hey, you know what? I think there's a good real chance if the price breaks through that level, it could get more upside momentum. That is certainly, again, not a guaranteed conclusion, but a plausible outcome. So if you like bull pennants, you like penny stocks, keep an eye on it. Next one, TSLL. The upwards trend continues as this thing continues to just grind higher and higher. Going to go ahead and get rid of that level as it's from a previous video. First update comes out based on a foundational rule in charting, which states when levels of resistance are broken and closed above, you want to see them act as support. And this actually played out absolutely perfectly today. Again, you'd want to see them act as support, and check it out. Acted as support before getting the move upwards. So moving forward now, the newest ideal level of support is going to be 1443. I say ideal in the sense of if you were to ask Clay, what would make this chart look the absolute strongest? Certainly if the price can stay above 1440. But from the overarching standpoint, keep an eye on that purple line right there, 50 period moving average. Keyword being moving. So as time goes by, that line there is going to move itself higher and higher, which from an overarching standpoint, as long as the price stays above level, that does imply that the price itself is building those higher bases, which is what an uptrend is all about. So again, preferably speaking, staying above 1443-ish would be great, but big picture wise, just stay above that purple line. In terms of areas of resistance, have a pretty well-defined trend line right here. So keep an eye on that moving forward. And I guess now that I look at it, we could have just called this another little miniature bull pennant pattern too if we wanted to. So a couple different ways of looking at it, but point being, any way you look at it, good bullish movement. Next one here, RGTI, and I'm going to go through this one a little quicker because you've just been hearing me talk about it for the past, but we have ourselves another bull pennant pattern. So there is our area of resistance. Here is our area of support. And then just because I can't help myself, let's keep it all one color. So we have our resistance, we have our support, we have the nice upward move right here, the golf hole down here. So we have ourselves another bull pennant pattern. I'd say the biggest difference here is this one is not a penny stock. So if you prefer to stay away from penny stocks, but you do like bull pennant patterns, keep an eye on RGTI. Next one, SMCI, absolutely monster move today. And yeah, you guessed it, one of these days where a lot of bull pennants around the market, and we have one here. So again, I'm going to go through it quicker so I can respect that time as much as possible. Let's just make it a little bit more proportional. So there's our area of resistance. There's our support. So we have resistance, we have support, we have just the absolute explosive move today. The golf hole down here. So yeah, pretty much as straightforward as that. Another bull pennant pattern. So a very good variety. We have a penny stock. We have one right around that $10, $15 mark. And now we have one a little bit more than that. So yes, bull pennants everywhere you look. Next one, NVDA. And this is why you got to like the bull pennants. This was a bull pennant going into today, which you can see right here. And then you can see on the day, got the breakout up through there. And another very, very impressive bull pennant breakout. So we'll go ahead and delete those lines out as they've served their purpose for now. And I will say that as of now, very straightforward where the sellers are hanging out at right here around this 135.50 mark. I mean, Time and time again, the price got up around that area or up around the general vicinity, and the price just, even I guess right here, didn't quite hit it, but again, same general vicinity. Price just couldn't quite push through it. So you got to think everybody and their brother's uncle is watching 135.50, and I make that comment because when a lot of people are watching the same levels and wondering the same thing, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want, it can produce some very dynamic movement. So still, not guaranteed to happen, but more than plausible to think that a break of 135.50 could create another surge of momentum back in the upwards direction. And then as far as areas of support are concerned, going back to that ideal of, that idea of ideal levels, what would make this chart look the strongest? Definitely if the price could stay above there. But as I already talked about in the previous one, from that overarching standpoint, as long as the price stays above that purple line, as the line itself moves higher and higher, then from the overarching standpoint, the bulls are still in full health. Real quick, want to take a break and personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online webinar that I'm offering very soon. So if you've been enjoying what you've seen and you want to learn more about this tool, how it can and should be used to build consistency and manage risk, then definitely get signed up for the free live class. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down in the description area you can use, or if you're watching right at my website, there's an area on the webpage that you can use to sign up. So like I said, if you've been enjoying, then definitely get signed up for the free live training. Next one here, ticker symbol ETOR. First day today, IPO and movement all over the place. And as it settled down here a little bit, we still don't have a lot of data because, well, like I said, it's an IPO, but we now have a couple of key levels to keep an eye on. So first level where the buyers finally stepped in here on a few different occasions, right here around, give or take, the 65.40 mark. I realized right there didn't quite hit it. Right there went a little bit below it. And then right there basically bounced right off it. But point here, generally speaking, right around here, the buyers were hanging out. Now, are the buyers still going to be hanging out moving forward? Nobody knows that. But I would not call you crazy at all if you're thinking, you know what, if the price comes down here, I'm going to try to buy and look for some sort of bounce. Because there were buyers down here before. Again, that is totally a valid thought process to have. But there is no way of actually knowing if those buyers that were right here will still be down there. But nonetheless, that is what I would consider a key area of support. And then if there is any sort of attempted curl back upwards, two main areas of resistance initially right here, I would consider at the $70 mark. And then the next key area up here more so around the 72, 75 mark. But all in all, wild day today. So if you like trading, then this is one that was all over the map today. So it'll be interesting to see how this one continues to play out as the week continues. Next one, BBAI. Talked about this bull flag pattern yesterday and another nice move up. And we basically have a case of deja vu. Now, it's not the same exact thing, and this is a little tricky to talk about because it's all about perspective. I mean, if you're some sort of day trader, flipper, scalper, and you bought up there and your plan was to buy and sell within, 37 seconds, well then yes, from that angle, things are not looking so good at all because the price did pull back. But even with the pullback, so yes, there is a pullback. You can't deny that. Part of this is, okay, well, I'm a bigger picture point of view. So sure, the price pulled back today, but where was it? Let's factor in some more days. And for that person, they'd be like, well, the price actually was down there and now it still went all the way up there. So from that angle, you're looking at a multi-day bull flag pattern. So overall, the chart is still bullish. Again, I'm well aware that if you're a day trader, scalper, whatever you want to call it, and you bought right there, you definitely don't care about this multi-day bull flag pattern. For you, the chart is a train wreck. But again, for the person that cares about the bigger picture, multi-days, overall, yes, with the pullback, you would still be looking at a bull flag pattern. Next one here, KLTO, very, very strong mover. Have a pullback, and what I find interesting about the pullback here is that it seemingly has leveled out. Now, I say seemingly because we don't know that for sure. My point here is it's at least plausible, and that's based on the fact of it finally stopped putting in new lows. Think about all these pullbacks. Put in a low, and then put in a newer low, and then put in a newer low, and then put in a newer low, and then right here, oh look, it did actually not put in a newer low. It's actually got a little bit of an upwards move. Now again, does this guarantee that this pullback is over, and does this guarantee this thing's about ready to try to curl back upwards? Of course not, as I've said a million times, and I'll probably say a million more times. There are no guarantees. But is it now plausible? Absolutely. Case in point, if this thing just kept putting in lower lows, and I'm sitting here saying, hey, it's looking like it's finally done, you'd be totally justified to say, wait, what are you talking about? Based on what? It's still putting in lower lows. How can you say, but that's not the case right here? Because it has at least started to, seemingly level out. If the price does try to curl back upwards, first key battleground to watch closely, going to be right up here at that level of the 37-cent mark. But overall, like I said, I think the most interesting dynamic is the fact that it was a strong move. Got a pretty rough pullback, but is this pullback leveling out? We'll see what happens on Thursday. Next one here, DEVS. Pretty wild when you stop and think about it. Massive volume back there on Monday, and then nothing on Tuesday volume-wise. And then today the volume has come back in, and it's maintained itself a little bit better. But so definitely kind of a tricky chart. I'm not quite sure totally what to think of it. So with that being said, we'll map out some levels here. But First key area that does seem to be some sort of worthwhile area of resistance. Oh, never mind. I'm not sure why I made that line so long, but let's work smarter, not harder. There we go. So that does seem to be kind of a relatively obvious trend line to draw. And in my mind, obvious is good in this situation because that's going to be the level that you got to think most people have drawn. Therefore, maybe you get some sort of self-fulfilling prophecy with that. And then on the same side of things relative to the support, again, I think that's probably a pretty straightforward trend line that a lot of people have drawn. So maybe these are kind of the areas that generate some sort of self-fulfilling prophecy. But really, in all actuality, you essentially have this wedge formation that is formed. Some may call it a symmetrical triangle. I wouldn't push back against that. But essentially just a question of who is ultimately going to win this battle as it goes back and forth. The price keeps bouncing back and forth, back and forth. So we'll have to see who wins it out. But no doubt about it, this one can get volume spikes. And when the volume spikes happen, as it demonstrated again today, it can get moving and moving in a hurry. So we'll see if something like that plays out over the next couple of days. Next one, TSLA Tesla, an overall good move. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that level for now. And that general principle that I talked about earlier, when levels of resistance are broken and closed above, they tend to act as support. And you can see that again right here. Beautiful job, former area of resistance now behaving as support. So keep an eye on that as the ideal level. But as I've talked about from the overarching standpoint, just continue to watch that purple line there, the 50-period moving average. And as long as the price stays above that line, as the line itself moves higher and higher, then the overall trend is still plenty bullish. And then in regards to levels of resistance, pretty straightforward here. You have that kind of stubborn area right up around that area. And I suppose you do have a bit of maybe I don't know, maybe am I fitting a square peg through a round hole? Maybe. If you totally disagree with that, I'm not offended at all. But yeah, maybe a bull pennant there depending on how you look at it. But at the end of the day, this thing keeps putting in higher highs, higher lows. And from a trend building standpoint, that's what it's all about. Higher highs, higher lows. That's what Tesla's been doing. And as long as it continues to do that, then that's what ultimately matters most. So that wraps up the top 10 list. Again, if you like what you saw here, then definitely get signed up for the free class. It'll be very soon, Thursday, May 15th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So I hope to see you there. And as far as the top 10 videos, as always, if you enjoy these, make sure you hit that like button. And if you're not yet a subscriber, hit that subscribe button. And also, I have been live streaming, and I start at 11 a.m. Eastern. So if you want to see some live training or just come out, hang out, ask some questions or whatever, be sure to swing by the channel at 11 a.m. Eastern Time or thereafter and see if I am still live streaming whenever you're available. But all in all, go get signed up for that class. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.